and I'm going to just pour this in the gas tank. Hi, and welcome to this episode of John's Motorcycle Rescue and Review. Today I'm going to go over how to winterize your motorcycle. And I'm sure a lot of you live in climates where there are certain months of the year that you just really can't get out and enjoy your bike. I live in Pennsylvania, and even though the winters are generally pretty mild here, there may be a month or two where I'm not able to get out on the road, just due to snow on the roads or the gravel and the yuck that comes with wintertime. I'm going to go over 3 easy steps that make winterizing your motorcycle. It's super easy, guys. It's not something that's hard to do. Most people just don't think about it and they forget to do it. And when they go to start their bike in the spring, it won't start. Oftentimes their carbs have gummed up over the winter, and if you don't store your bike properly as well, you can get rust in the gas tank, and it just leads to a whole host of problems and expense that is really completely needless. First step you can take, and really the most critical, is putting some sort of fuel stabilizer in your gas tank. And not only that, but you want to get that fuel with the stabilizer in it circulated down to your carburetors. Even your fuel injection system, this is a really good idea to do. Whatever fuel stabilizer you use, you want to follow the directions and put the correct amount in. Most bikes, I figure, have a little bit less than 5 gallons as far as the capacity of the tank, and so I treat accordingly for about 5 gallons. So on the stable here, it's 1 ounce, and I'm going to squeeze the bottle, get 1 ounce measured out. And I'm going to just pour this in the gas tank. Once the stable is in the gas tank, I drive the bike to the nearest gas station, preferably one, if you can find one that has non-ethanol fuel, that's the best. But I fill the bike as full as I can make it with high-test gas. As I drive back and forth from the gas station, the stable, or whatever fuel stabilizer you have in there, actually circulates down into your carburetors, and that's what you want. The reason you want a full tank of gas is that a full tank of gas takes much longer to go bad than a little bit of gas in the gas tank. It also displaces any water and leaves only a very little bit of airspace in there, and it prevents rust in your gas tank. One last thing, if you have a fuel petcock on your bike that is not the vacuum assist type, you definitely want to turn it to the off position, as this one is, over the winter, and that will prevent any fuel leakage from your carburetors. If one of your carburetors would start to leak, it can only leak out a tiny amount of fuel before the off switch kind of shuts off everything. So full tank of gas, stabilizer in the gas tank, and circulate it down to your carburetors. The next step we're going to do is make sure the battery is healthy. And so I store all of my bikes in a semi-heated garage. It doesn't get ever below freezing in there. And so what I do is I put a battery tender lead on every one of my motorcycles. And they're very easy to install. I'm able to plug those in, and then I'll rotate. Every week or so, I make sure that the battery is fully charged, and then it makes sure that when you go to start it in the spring, everything just fires right up. Now, if you store your bike in a shed or in a non-heated garage, the cold over the winter can kill your battery. So I would suggest, again, if you're in a non-heated garage, I would remove the battery and bring it inside and keep it in a dry place. You might want to cover one of the terminals so that it can't accidentally arc against something, but you want to store the battery where it's not getting below freezing, especially on any kind of regular basis. The final thing that you might want to do, and a lot of people do, and I would suggest if you don't really ride your bikes at all over the winter, is when you get back from the gas station after you have kind of circulated the fuel, after you've gotten fuel in it for the last time, everything's topped off, I would go ahead, while the bike is warm, I would go ahead and drop the oil and do an oil change on the bike. That way you've got fresh oil that sits in there over the winter, and it's not oil that has the acids and the gas residue and everything that's been built up. I personally ride my bikes on a fairly regular basis, even throughout the winter months. And so I still change my oil on a very regular basis based on mileage and usage. But that's, you know, if you have a longer, kind of a more extended winter, it is a great idea to change your oil prior to storing the bike away. And then, you know, you can fire the bike up after you change the oil, fire the bike up, let that fresh oil circulate through everything, and then shut it down and leave it off for the winter. Another thing that you could possibly do, again, if you're going to be storing the bike for a more extended period, is you can drain the gas out of your carburetors and then, you know, hit the start button a couple times or turn it over a couple times so that it sucks all that remaining fuel out of there and it doesn't leave any residual in your pilot jets where it can gum up and still give you issues. In summary, for winter storage of a bike, if you put fuel stabilizer in your tank and go fill it up with gas, as you run it up to the store, that stabilizer will get into your carburetors. And then, at least as a minimum, have a battery tender lead so you can keep the battery on a tender over the winter months. Doing just those two things will save you so much money and headache and grief in the springtime when you want to go ride. And it really ensures that when you go to ride in the springtime, instead of a big shop bill or not being able to ride your bike that summer, you'll be able to get out and enjoy the season. All right, I hope you found this video entertaining and informative. And until next time, enjoy the ride.